In a northern notch of the Adriatic Sea, beyond allegiance to Byzantium or Rome, a 1,000-year-old empire was sinking. No one noticed her descent, disguised by centuries of wealth and reputation, like her citizens, living each day behind their carnevale masks. See them in their gondolas, lovers lifting disguises beneath bridges to kiss. Imagine the senator making his vote anonymously in the halls of the Doge's palace, and the little girl at the market buying artichokes with her mama, the black ribbon of her mask whipping in a summer wind. In the years before the Republic fell, this was the Venetian way, to make a mystery of everything, to obscure identity in life, never to look too closely at what lay underneath. For 1,000 years, Venice had glittered at the center of the trading world, jewel of the Mediterranean. But when the trade routes shifted, and with them went the gold, she misheard her swan song as the music of celebration. She feasted more riotously than ever. Venice had always been sinking. Why not don the masks another day and toast another pink sunset? Except in the churches and the hospitals, where masks were forbidden. Most days, the city's sick and the city's orphans, those wards of the church, were the only bare faces in Venice. This story begins in an orphanage, on a lonesome night in the sleepy neighborhood of Dorsoduro. There, in a nursery for foundling children, a 5-year-old girl lay in bed planning her escape. Winter had the city in its grip again, and a driving wind rattled the pane of the window with its sad view of the building next door. Even if Violetta pressed against its glass, the most she could see was a curtained window through which no one ever looked out. As soon as the others fell asleep, she would steal to the attic. Behind crates of old vestments and broken violins, its sole high window cleared the neighboring rooftop. She could see how Venice stretched to the horizon. She could be alone. She waited for the last whispers to fade to breathing, for the extraordinary stillness of 36 sleeping girls. She had a trick for keeping patient. She explored the streets of Venice in her mind. She traveled up and down her city's bridges, blinking at the trembling gold reflection of the sun on the canal. If she focused, she could almost smell the water's brine. 4 times had she been allowed beyond the orphanage walls, to walk the stone streets in a line of orphans taking alms, chanting and invoking saints. Violetta held fast to those memories. Gondoliers crooning, street performers throwing knives and swallowing fire, sidestepping white-masked noblemen and women, so unlike the barefaced orphans that they might have been another species. How she longed to wear a mask. The walks always ended the same way, with the prioress turning the girls back to the zattere, the sunny stone promenade slapped by the Giudecca Canal. Then they hurried past the traghetto stop, where gondoliers whistled beneath the brims of their straw hats. They passed the entrance to the building's west wing, the sculpted head of a foundling boy marking the door of the male dormitory. They passed the central double doors, the public entrance, which opened to a high-ceilinged vestibule that led directly into the church. And then, too soon, they were back at the east wing, where the corresponding sculpted head of a foundling girl hung over the entrance of the only home Violetta had ever known. In her imagination, this was the moment she broke free, took off running down the narrow calle, ducking past street hawkers until she found herself gloriously alone, until she wasn't an orphan anymore. In her mind, she was clattering across a stone bridge wearing the painted wooden high-heeled clogs of a patrician lady. She was masked. She was boarding a gondola, wind dancing with her cloak. She was sailing for Giudecca, for a masquerade at one of the stately palazzi across the canal. Or maybe she was going farther. Where? How much more was there to this city, to life, than she had been allowed to see? Beneath her covers, Violetta ran her thumb along her right heel, where the thin blue eye branded her award of the Incurables. This mark told the universe that she had no family, that she belonged nowhere but here, within this walled Istrian stone compound at the southern edge of the city.